One of the most challenging postures many yoga students face is Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Hey everybody, I'm Yogi Aaron, and today I'm going to break down this wonderful pose for you. I will give you some safe and easy hacks to not only be able to go deeper, but to practice this pose more safely. Now, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and if you're on YouTube, click the alert notification. Remember to like this video and leave your questions in the comments below so I can get back to you. Happy practicing! Namaste and welcome. My name is Yogi Aaron, and I'm going to break down a pose that is practiced often in most yoga classes, and most importantly, give you a really cool, simple hack in order to deepen this pose and deepen it in a safe and intelligent way. And one of my greatest passions is understanding muscle function. Muscle function is important in our body because without muscles, we can't move bones. The primary function of muscles is to move bones. And when those muscles aren't working well, your bones aren't moving. And even more than that, when we have pain in the body, we can't move. And pain is usually, not always, but usually, or more often than not, a symptom or a sign that there's something going on in the muscular system and we need to address it. What we look at in applied yoga anatomy is how do we raise the function of muscles? How do we raise the function of muscles so they work better and they do what they're supposed to do? A lot of times in our yoga practice, we tend to just focus on one specific group of muscles. We either want to stretch them, sometimes we want to strengthen them, but we also forget the other muscles, the opposite muscles. And these opposite muscles are really important. And I'm going to give you an example of that. When we do Bhujangasana Cobra pose, what do we often hear the teacher say? Open your heart, stretch the front of your body, engage your core. Now, sure, these things are important, but what are we actually doing when we're doing Cobra pose? We're actually engaging the back body. It is the back body or the back of the body that we want to increase muscle function. And what we know in applied yoga anatomy is that when we engage muscles, the opposite muscles release. The opposite muscles let go. And so oftentimes you always hear teachers say, like, stretch the pecs. Well, guess what? The pecs will release and stretch, if you want to use that word, if you engage the muscles in the back body, if you engage the agonistic muscles, if you engage the opposite muscles. So when we're doing certain poses, we want to start to change the way that we think and work on engaging the muscles that are the opposite to what we want to release. In applied yoga anatomy and muscle activation, one of my teachers often says that tight muscles are a sign of muscle weakness. And the reason for that is because if a muscle is tight, what that tells us is the opposite muscle is not engaging properly. So we want to get that muscle engaged. So in the case of Cobra pose, what we're looking to do is engage the trapezius muscles as well as other spinal erector muscles. But the traps is one of the most crucial muscles to really create this idea of extension in the upper back, in the thoracic spine specifically, and somewhat the neck as well. Definitely the trapezius plays a huge role in extending the cervical spine. So we have upper traps, which is connected to the cervical spine. We have the middle traps, which is in the upper part of the back. And then we have the lower traps, which is in the lower upper part of the back. And one of the ways that you can kind of start to feel the traps kind of working is by bringing the shoulder blades together. Now, of course, there's other muscles involved here, i.e. the rhomboids. But definitely the trapezius muscles is responsible for the retraction of the shoulder blades and the downward motion of the shoulder blades, as well as there's upward motion in the upper part of the traps as well. So when we're doing this kind of simple hack, I'm going to show you one of the things that we want to do is bring the shoulder blades back and down the spine and squeeze that area. This is a word I'll often use in my yoga classes. Squeeze. You want to squeeze that muscle. You want to feel that muscle become really fired up. And as we can squeeze that muscle, we're going to begin to signal to the brain, hey, there's a muscle here. It needs to start working, and the brain will reconnect to that muscle, and it will start to function at a higher level, at a better level. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is to come and sit down or lay down on your stomach onto your yoga mat or on the floor. If you don't have a yoga mat, don't worry. Just come onto the floor. And I want you to do a little experiment before we start. So we're not going to get too much into the Cobra. I'm not going to give too much direction yet. But I want you to bring your hands sort of underneath your shoulders and then bring them just a little bit wider. And allow your elbows to come to neutral. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. And I want you just to come up. Now, I'm doing this video early in the morning, so my body is not woken up yet. And just come up about as high as it feels comfortable, as high as it feels good. Push down into the ground with your hands. Feel the fingers spreading. And just kind of lift up and see if you can arch the upper part of your back. Now don't jam your head up. Lead with your heart, lead with your chest, and that's about as far as I can go comfortably right about now. Okay, now you can see here in the upper part of my back, this is where we want to create this extension. Okay, I can use this verbiage all I want. Open my heart, feel the pec stretch, but nothing's happening, baby. And the reason why is because the opposite muscles, the back muscles, are not engaging. They're not doing anything right now. So we want to get those guys engaged. But before we do, there's a couple of points that I just want to bring up about Cobra pose. And one is the hand placement. Experiment with your hand placement. Some of the guidance out there is get your hands underneath the shoulders, pull the elbows into the ribs. I want you to do that just for a second. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, squeeze the elbows into the ribs. Now push up. Notice how that feels. Now bring the hands a little bit wider, not a lot wider, just a couple of inches, maybe one or two. And let the elbows come out. The elbows come in. Let the elbows come to neutral. Draw the shoulder blades back down the spine, and then come up just a bit. You notice the difference? Yeah, it probably feels more open, probably feels more natural. We can look at the anatomy of the spine without any muscles on it, and yeah, sure, maybe your bones line up a certain way, but sometimes your body doesn't. Your body does what your body does, and you have to kind of play with that neutral setting in your body and work from there. Okay? The other thing I would just want to mention about the Cobra pose is the glutes and the legs. We want to feel the leg bones really pressing down into the ground. So that's number one. Number two, feel all the toes pressing down. And then three, bring the ankle bones, the malleolus, in towards the midline. Now, we're not going to get into that part of the instruction too much today. I'm just going to put a pin in it for now. But you do want to squeeze the ankles towards each other. Obviously, my feet aren't going to move, but I am squeezing them there. One of the things I often will do when I'm breaking this down in my classes is actually put a block in between the feet. And that can be really nice as you squeeze the block and then come up into Cobra pose. And you feel this dynamic quality, this stability in the lower part of your body just take over and really kind of allow you to lengthen into this posture. The other thing I want to mention is the glutes, to squeeze or not to squeeze. So here's the thing. As you're going to find out really quickly, we're not really using the glutes to come into this pose. So should you squeeze the glutes? The answer is no, you shouldn't squeeze the glutes because your glutes aren't helping you get into this posture. They're not doing anything. What is getting you into this posture are your trapezius muscles. So if you're squeezing your glutes, you're not using your trapezius muscles. So I want you to really isolate the glutes as much as possible, okay? So we're gonna do this hack now. The first part is just bring the hands down beside your waist, forehead to the floor, and just lift up. Now, I like to really relax my glutes here. So I'm gonna bring my hands just to the glutes, make sure they're relaxed, jiggle, 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 and gonna lift up. Nice. And come down. Good. Now, this is really nice posture. You can actually already start to see that my upper traps, as well as other spinal erector muscles, are also starting to kick in. And I'm able to come up a little bit higher. And you might even start to see a little bit of an arch in my upper back. And I'm going to come down. So when we come up, we're just going to come up for about 6 seconds, more or less. So come on up again. And now, if you're doing this with me, you can definitely start to feel all of these muscles in the upper back. And you might notice that you're getting up a little bit higher. Now, is my core working? Hell no. My core's not doing anything. It's all upper back right now. I'm very isolated. My glutes are relaxed. I can actually start to feel a little bit of muscle in the lower back, but definitely upper back is really firing up. Good. Now we're going to add on here, and this is the real hack here. So come on up, bring the arms forward, pretend you're holding on to a beach ball, and lift that beach ball up and hold it there. 1, 2, 3. Do you feel that? 5 and 6, and come on down. Oh, I'm sorry, I needed a little breath there myself. Woo. Okay, now come on up again. Bring the arms forward. And now this time, squeeze the elbows to about level with your shoulders. Lift them up. My glutes are relaxed. Lift it up. Now bring the arms forward and squeeze the elbows back. And arch the upper back. Arch it. Arch it. Lift. Lift. And down. Whew. That, my friends, is a backbend. That's a backbend in action, happening on a huge level. That is intense. Okay, let's do it again. Yes, we're going to do it again. So lift up. Bring the arms forward. Now lift those arms up. You might even notice you're getting up a little bit higher. And don't worry about hurting yourself. You're not going to hurt yourself here. It's really hard to hurt yourself. You're fighting against gravity. So you're going to go to the capacity of what your muscles can engage. Squeeze the elbows back. Lift up, up, up. Relax the glutes. Bring the arms forward. Relax the glutes. And squeeze the elbows back. Lift up, 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 and down. Whew, hallelujah. Ah, just delicious. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. So, bring the arms back, lift up, and now bring the arms forward, lift up, 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 and squeeze. Bring the arms forward, try and stay up, and squeeze, and down. Okay, just take a deep breath in here. That's more for me than for you. All right. So let's conduct our next experiment. Let's do Cobra pose again. So bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Bring them a little bit wider. Let the elbows relax. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Can you feel your trapezius muscles now? Squeeze the shoulder blades back and down. Now come on up. Oh, yes. Just go to your own cobra pose. I'm pressing my feet down into the ground. My malleolus, my ankle bones are squeezing together. Lifting the chest up, drawing the shoulder blades back. Bring the manubrium forward. Up. And down. I hope you have a great day. There's a simple little hack on how to increase, improve, and deepen your Bhujangasana cobra pose.